Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Tech Talk. Before we start, I just want to say that we will be taking a break for July and August just to prepare more speakers and topics for you all. If you have any suggestions or something you would really like to know more about, I would love to hear from you and just let us know. And we will try our best to do that. I will start with presenting our speaker today. Her name is Edlyn Jordan, who also goes by Lynn. We all call her Lynn. She brings a wealth of personal and professional experience to today's discussion on Android accessibility features and apps for the visually impaired. Lynn holds both an MBA and a master's degree in counseling psychology and has worked for over 15 years in the mental health field. In 2008, Lynn was diagnosed with Stargardt's disease, which is the cause of her low vision. And since then, she has become a passionate advocate for accessibility, especially when it comes to empowering others through technology. Lynn has been using Android devices since she got her first cell phone in 1994. And today, she'll be sharing valuable insights and tools that can make Android more accessible and user-friendly for people with visual impairment. Please join me in welcoming another of our POB's resource navigators, Edlyn Jordan. I would just like to add that starting sometime in July, we will be opening our Low Vision Resource Center in Washington, D.C., in our office there. And Lynn will be seeing clients every Friday. Well, I will send out an email to everyone when this happens, so you can call and make the appointment to see Lynn on Fridays in D.C. as well. Lynn, the mic is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm, as Tara so graciously introduced me, I'm Lynn. Welcome, Android users, one and all. I guess we'll just jump in and get started. My hope today is that every person on this call leaves with a little bit more information than you had when than you do right now. So with that goal in mind, at the end, we'll just run through like a few things. And at the end, we'll have a space for questions, because I'm imagining some of you probably have questions, like specific questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. But we're going to treat this call as though everybody is a novice, so that way, hopefully nobody gets left behind. Today, I'm going to be demonstrating on, this is a Samsung phone. It's a it's the Galaxy A13, in case any of you have it. But basically, it's just a simple phone. None of the accessibility features have been enabled on it. So I thought it would be a good idea to walk through it as though I was setting it up for the first time. And to help me see this phone, I'm going to be using my actual phone, which I use the Samsung Galaxy Fold 6. Just in case anybody cares. Okay, so starting at the very beginning, Android phones. If you do not have an Apple phone, you have an Android phone. And that confuses a lot of people. Android is simply the operating system. It's, without getting too technical, it's what your phone uses to work. Apple uses iOS, and everybody else uses Android. So it doesn't matter if you have a Samsung or an LG, or who else is out there? Motorola, Nokia, any other phone that's not an Apple is an Android phone in the United States. You're using Android as your operating system. So that said, most of these phones are set up similarly. And I'm going to go over the hardware really quickly, and then we'll get into the software, which is what most of you want to know about. Hardware on this phone, and that's the actual device, the actual phone. There's typically 3 buttons, 3 pressable buttons on the side of your phone. One controls the volume up, one of the buttons controls the volume down, and the other button is for the power to turn it on and off. That's just basic. On the back, there's usually 3 types of buttons, and that's going to be your camera. So the camera is usually on the back of the phone. There's also one that faces the front of the phone. So you have a camera on the back, a camera at the top, on the front, and 3 buttons on the side. Okay, so there's the hardware in a nutshell. In case anybody didn't know how to turn your volume up and down, it's that button on the side of your phone. So now let's get into the software, which the software is the stuff you can't really touch, but the thing that helps you use the phone. For Android users, typically all of us will want to, once your phone is on, and the screen's unlocked, this one is not. Okay. You're going to want to swipe down from the very top of the phone. And most of you, it's going to be in the right-hand corner at the top. If you just touch it and pull down, a menu should come up. Once you see this menu at the top, so the same area that you touched before, there's a little circle. And I know it's very difficult for some people to see, as most of us have visual impairments, but there's a little cog or a wheel or a little circle that's really close to the top. And that gets you into your settings. So when you press that button, that little wheel, it should open up your settings menu. And this is where you're going to want to be to enable most all of the accessibility functions on your phone. So it's rather important that you find that. If you know another way to get to settings, because different phones have different ways, and there are other ways to get to it, you can do it that way. But the easiest way is to swipe down and find that little cog button. So once we're in settings, we want to scroll, which is just putting your finger at the bottom and dragging it up. Go all the way to the bottom. When you put your finger at the bottom and scroll up, nothing moves. That means you're at the bottom. We're looking for accessibility. And again, this is not enabled. None of the functions are enabled on this one. So I'm using my phone to see the button the menu we want to go into is accessibility. Because the first thing we're going to try and do is make this phone, we're going to enable the font to be bigger so that we're all able to actually read it, because that will help us move around on the phone. So once you've gone into the accessibility, you press that. We're now looking, for me, it's the 1, 2, 3, the 4th one from the top. It says visibility enhancement. We want to go there. And that's going to be, like I said, most all of the software options that enable this phone for a person that doesn't see well, they're going to be here under visibility enhancements. And for any of you who, if I'm moving too fast and you can't keep up, this is being recorded. So you're welcome to, at any point, come back, listen to it, pause it, walk through it slower, so that you're able to find everything. I just want to keep going so we can hit the main points, and then everybody can ask questions. Once we're in the visibility enhancement, there are, on my screen, there are 3 letter A's, the capital A and the little a. There are 3 boxes. The first box, I believe, just says none. No, it says default. The second box says high contrast, so it's a dark background with white letters. And the last box says large display. I want large display. Some of you might like the high contrast, but large display works best for me. I need it as big as I can get it so that I can kind of see it. So once you press that large display, hopefully the font will increase in size and get a little bigger so that it might be a little easier for you to read. Okay, so I press that button and then I say apply. And it takes a second to think about it. And now it's making everything larger so that I can see it. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm holding it up to the camera, but the words are now larger. So I can see them a little better now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got that one thing enabled, and that should carry over into your other screens as well. The changes that we're making here should show on the phone when we go back to our regular screen. You pull up the internet, it should hopefully be a bit larger. So the next thing we're going to enable is, and I'm glancing down because I've written notes. Once we get the screen larger, we also want to go in and do magnifier. Magnifier is important for a lot of people, magnifier and magnification. So let's see, at the bottom of your screen, there are likely 3 buttons. At the very bottom, there's one that's, for me, it's 3 lines, 3 vertical lines for the first one, and then the second one, and these are all on the touch screen, so it's not a physical button, it's one you're going to press that's on the screen. But the first one is the 3 vertical lines, the second one is a square, and then the last one is an arrow that points to the left. When you press the arrow that points to the left, that's the back button, and I want to go back because now I've made my screen size larger. I want to go back to the menu we were on prior to this, which is still under accessibility and vision enhancement. But I want to go back because I want to look at other options for things I can do. So now I want to find the magnifier. Actually, I want to find magnification first. Let's look for magnification first. So again, we're in case you got lost, we went into settings and then under accessibility, under vision enhancement, I now want to look for, I'm going to scroll. I'm back to the menu that had the 3 A's at the top. I'm going to scroll down and look for magnification. And for me, it's near the bottom. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one up from the very bottom. Magnification is going to enable me to zoom in and out on the screen so that, again, I can see what I'm doing on the phone. I can read the words. And this works for people that have some vision. If you have no vision, there are things you can enable on the phone, but it's a little more complex, and it would probably be better to make an appointment in the LVRC, if I'm being honest, to have somebody walk you through it, because it's something you would need someone that's there with you to enable some of the functions if you can't see. So on this screen now, where the magnification is, you have the option to create a magnification shortcut, magnification cursor while typing, and that's to make, you know, the little indicator that shows where you are when you're typing something. It's the thing that enables you to make that larger, or you can change the color on it, make it a little wider so that it's something you can find easier with your eye. But specifically, I want the magnification shortcut. So I press that button, and now I'm going into, let's see, the very first one that says tap the accessibility button. If I do this one, there'll be a little icon that appears down at the bottom where we talked about those 3 buttons, the vertical line, the square, and the arrow that points to the left. they would add another button down here, and that looks like a little man, like a little stick figure. If you enable the magnification button there, then you'll always want to find that little man to turn it on. For me, that does not work well. I have a hard time finding that little man. I have a hard time seeing this. So the shortcut that I would like to make is to turn the buttons that we talked about that are on the side. I would like to either make one of those the thing that I can turn the magnifier on with, or and the way I have it enabled on my phone is to tap the screen 3 times to get the magnifier to turn on. That works best for me. For some of you that have some vision, and even though it may be limited, if you can see your screen well, you can enable things on the screen like that you just find and press. For those of us who maybe struggle with that and don't have as easy a time seeing things on the screen, they're called gestures, and I like gestures. Gestures is a triple tap, or like I said, pressing the hard buttons that are on the side. It's enabling and telling it to it's telling my phone, I need you to turn it on this way, as opposed to giving me a button on the screen to press. So in this menu, you have the option for how you want to set up your magnification to turn on. And I am going to tell it that I would like to, at the very bottom, the option to triple tap the screen. And then I say, okay, that's how I want to turn on the magnification. Now, once that's on, what I've just enabled my phone to do is when I press it quickly 3 times, 1, 2, 3, it highlights a blue square comes around the entire screen, and I can then take 2 fingers and I can spread them apart and make the screen really large, like make whatever it is I'm trying to see very large. And I would just pull those fingers back together to make it small again. And that will help. And again, this goes across all the screens on your phone. So if I'm on my text messages and I can't see it, I just put 2 fingers there, spread it apart when the magnifier or magnification is on. Spread them apart. I'll be able to read it, close them together so I can move around and see things. If I have it really large on the screen and I want to move around, I simply take those 2 fingers and I drag them all over, and that will allow me to move. Even though everything's really large, I can move the screen around. And hopefully, yes, please.
Yeah, sorry, Lynn. Shall we see if people have any questions before you continue to
Sure.
the other one?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Anyone has a question about what Lynn mentioned so far?
I do. This is Lynn Davidson, and I have probably a newer phone that has many more options in magnification. So I didn't follow when you said, when you were talking about using the 2 fingers. So if I turn on the magnification shortcut, I do see the little man, down at the
Yes.
bottom. But I really want to learn what you just went through, and I wasn't able to follow.
Okay, not a problem,
Yeah.
not a
Okay.
problem. So what I had mentioned before is the little man is a great option for those who have some vision and can see that. It's a little bit of a struggle for some of us, though, that can't see it. So I was saying that I like the option to do gestures. I want to just not have to find anything, but literally just tap my screen 3 times where there isn't anything on the screen, and that will turn on my magnifier. So when you were in the option where you saw the magnification in the little man, so
Yes.
again, walking through it, to settings, to accessibility, to vision enhancement, to magnification, yes. So I see the option to turn on the little man, the magnification shortcut. If you scroll down, so again, go through that menu. let's see, we want to tap on, oh, you want to tap on the area that actually says magnification shortcut. There's one toggle button to turn it on. But if you tap on the words, that's when the other menu opens up that gives you options for how you want to turn on your magnification. And that's where I told it I wanted to do the triple tap. That's the option that's at the bottom. But the other options there are, it says to, using my phone to read it. It says to press and hold the volume up and down keys for 3 seconds, or you can press the side and volume up keys. Those are like the physical options, so that you don't have to find an icon on the screen. You can just do a gesture or something else to turn it on. So those may be those are the options on this phone. And I think most of the newer models have that option. Some of the older phones only have the option for the little man, the little stick figure icon.
No,
I found it.
I'm
Yeah, sorry.
sorry. I
Lynn-
cannot even find accessibility
Okay.
on my
Constance,
settings.
yeah,
I'm late, and I'm looking
Yeah.
frantically, and I don't find
Yeah.
it anywhere
No
on the
problem.
setting menu.
Yeah, Lynn, you just answer this question and then continue, because otherwise we will, you will not be able to finish.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So any of you who are struggling with this, like, I hate to say come see us, but sometimes it's easiest to do a one-on-one. I'll sit down. I'm very patient, honestly. And
Carl?
we
Yes.
can
I'm sorry. Real quick, I was going to tell someone if they can't find it
Mhm.
via the path that's being explained,
Mhm.
they can just search for triple tap, in your settings, and it'll take you right there.
I do not see anything that says accessibility or triple tap
No,
anywhere in my settings.
what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
in the upper right-hand corner, when you're in settings, there's a magnifier, and that'll help you search. And if you hit that and then type in triple tap, it'll take you there, and you don't have to, drill down.
Thank you, Janice. That's helpful. And do you want to continue? Because then we will
sure.
leave the questions to the end.
Sure. So so in that same area, we've now turned on the magnification. So that enables us to see what's on our screen. But a lot of people like using the magnifier. And I know it's the same word, just a different version. Magnification is I want to look at my screen, my phone screen. The magnifier uses your camera to see things outside of your phone. So a menu in a restaurant is where you want to use your magnifier, or a sign up on a wall that I can't, get close enough to see what it says. Like in Costco, that's where I use my magnifier. That can be found in the exact same area that we were just in. So I'm sorry to those of you who are struggling to find it. But if you go again into settings and then into accessibility, into vision enhancement, the options there, you now, instead of magnification, we want to look for the magnifier. And it's the exact same process to turn that on. So accessibility, vision enhancement, and scrolling down towards, for me, it's now the fourth one from the bottom, magnifier. And that one is the exact same thing. So once you turn it on, you get the options for how do you want to enable this. And for me, it's no longer allowing me to do a triple tap, because I've already told it when I do that, I want to use that for the magnification. So now my options are I can press and hold the volume keys, or press the power button and the volume key, or I can get the little man. And for this one, I think I'll just get the little man. This again, the phone that I'm enabling is a Samsung Galaxy A13. My phone, my actual phone that I carry, is newer. And I know on my phone, I have the option to drag 2 fingers from the bottom up. That's one of the options on my phone. It is not an option on this phone. So the options will differ depending on the age or the version of a phone that you have. So I'm just putting that out there in case some of you are like, well, she didn't mention this. I'm looking at a phone that's older. So you might have options that I don't have, or if your phone's even older than this one, you might only have the option for the stick man to be in the corner. And that is how you enable everything. You always have to find the stick man. And if worse comes to worse, the stick man is always in the bottom right corner. If you've got an older phone and you really can't see him, that's where he is. So you could just tap in that area and hope for the best in finding him. But a menu will pop up that says magnification, magnifier, talkback is in there also. So that's how you would use that. So I'm kind of segueing into talkback because I know quite a few people are really interested in talkback, which is a great tool. It allows you to speak text messages or things that you want to type out, and people love it for that. So here's the thing. In the same area that we were just in, talkback is there, but there are 2 versions of talkback. And this is where people get confused. One I like, one I don't love. If you have a Samsung phone, Samsung has their own version of TalkBack. They're basing it off of Google's TalkBack, which is the other version. But they've kind of made it specific to Samsung, and they like it to work with their apps, and that confuses people because you think you've turned TalkBack on and you're using the Samsung version and not the Google version. The majority of people are using the Google version, and it's the one I prefer. It's faster, it's easier to move around and navigate through for somebody who doesn't have good vision. And it interacts really well with the Google Assistant. But the Samsung one has a lot of lag time. Sometimes it doesn't respond whenever I'm trying to get it to open or close an app. It's a bit clunky. So I would encourage you, if you want to use TalkBack, to go to the App Store. And we haven't really talked about apps because we've only been looking at the features that are on your phone already, the software that exists on your phone. But an app is short for application. And it's simply, for all Android users, it's going to be found in the Google Play Store. And that icon, it's already set up in your phone. It's already in there. You didn't have to download that. When you got your phone, it had the Play Store already enabled. So when you do a search, you can just put in store and it will come up, STORE. You can just put that in and it will show up. But the icon itself is a white background with a rainbow colored arrow that's pointing to the right. That's what it looks like if you just go through all of the things on your phone. When you find that, that's the Google Play Store. Once you're there, if you put in TalkBack, it's going to give you the version to download Google's TalkBack. So you would go there and do that. It's free of charge. There's no fee for it. And once it's installed on your phone, now when you go, as we did all the other apps, when you go into settings, go into accessibility, go into vision enhancement, when you turn on TalkBack, you'll be turning on the Google version. If you do not do that, if you just have a Samsung phone and you go in, you're going to be turning on TalkBack that Samsung did, which is fine. All of these things really require a bit of practice. Like if you just play with them and bring your patience. But if you play with them, you over time will get a really good sense of how they work. and how to use them. And you may find that you like the Samsung version where you don't like the Google one. The Google one is, I don't know, too fast or doesn't, I don't know, match up with something that you use often on your Samsung phone. You might prefer the Samsung TalkBack. But just to hopefully mitigate some of the confusion, there are two versions of TalkBack, and it just depends on if you're using the Samsung or the Google version. They both do pretty much the same thing. Like I said, Samsung's just, they like it to work better with their phones and with their apps. Yeah, that's really the only difference. They do the same thing. Google will get the updates faster. Sometimes it takes Samsung a little longer to get an update to theirs, but that's really the only difference. But I use TalkBack. The main thing I use TalkBack for is if I pull up an article or something online and it's got a lot of reading to it, I can turn TalkBack on, press the screen, and a little box comes around the part and it reads that out loud. That's what I use TalkBack for. Many of you want to use it for text messages, to have it read your text messages out loud, and also to be able to talk to it for your text messages. I would suggest, rather than using TalkBack for that you use Google Assistant. It's a much smoother operating operator for something like sending text messages, and I can get it to do more than just text messages. It is the equivalent. It's again Google Assistant, which is called Gemini. And Samsung, if you have a Samsung phone, they recently did an update and they automatically put Gemini on everybody's phone. So that happened about a month ago. So if you have a Samsung phone and you've done the latest update, which would have been in May, you already have Gemini on your phone. If you don't have a Samsung, or you don't think you have it, you can just go to the Play Store and get Google Gemini. And the cool thing about Gemini is it is just what Siri is on an iPhone. So I can ask Gemini what time it is. It will tell me out loud. I can ask it to call my mother. And it will. It always says, call Benny Jordan. And I say yes, and it dials her phone. It'll ask me, do you want to call her on the mobile or on the house phone? I can say, send a text message to Tara, and it says, what do you want to say to Tara? And I send the text message. So I would definitely recommend going with Google Gemini for trying to talk to your phone and get it to do things. And again, that's in the Play Store. Now, when you put it on your phone, as with most all apps and a lot of software, you're going to have to give it permission to use things on your phone. Like, it won't just come in and work. It's going to say, can I have permission to use your camera? Can I have permission to access your contacts? Can I have permission to use your microphone? You just say yes to those things, understanding that you're giving Google permission for whatever that means to you. But once that's done, Google Gemini can be really, really helpful. And you access it just like you would the device that a lot of you have in your homes. That's Alexa. I won't say it because I don't want to turn everybody's on. This works the same way. You just say, okay, Google, or you say, hey, Google, and it will turn on and make a little beep and, wait for you to ask it to do something. And yeah, so that's a really great app to use. And I wanted to suggest maybe one or two other apps. Once you get a little more familiar with your phone, I would suggest going in the Play Store and just looking for anybody who's created an app that can do something you really need help with. For me, one of the things I really had a struggle with was my keyboard. I still can't really see even when it's on high contrast, I can't really see the keyboard, the letters, on the Google keyboard or on the Samsung keyboard, which are both on my phone. So I went into the App Store and I found a really large keyboard, and that's great. Like, that's really helpful for me. and the one I use is called Classic Keyboard, but I'm not even gonna suggest that one because I think there are other ones that have higher ratings. I just at the time was desperate, and I think I grabbed the first one that looked like it would work. But just so you can see it, I'm pulling up my phone and pretending I'm sending a text message. This is the size of my keyboard. Whenever I get ready to type something, it looks this large, and I can see this. So again, just go in the App Store. I would suggest Google Assistant or Gemini. I would suggest finding a large keyboard if that's an issue for you. And also, Seeing AI is an app that a lot of us recommend that reads things out loud. It uses your camera and you just point it at things and it will read them out loud. I use it to read mail sometimes. When I'm standing at a bus stop and I can't see which bus is coming, I point it at the bus and it reads, like anything that's text, it just kind of reads it out loud. And I find that very helpful sometimes. So with that, and I have given you a lot, I am going to now take a break and let you guys ask me any questions, because I ran through, like I said, quite a bit, and I know we move a little slower sometimes. So anybody who has a question, please, just ask away.
Yeah, so we have Al who says, I have a Motorola G Pure. I have to use the Google apps. Which apps do I need to load? What is the use of the Speechify app? Do you use the Speechify? I don't either.
I don't use Speechify, so I'm gonna have to write that one down and look it up.
Okay. Yeah, I don't use it either.
But I am familiar with your phone. Like, again, if it's an Android operating system, so the Google, I would say, because Google has their own phone called a Pixel, and the apps on Pixels work really well because they're Google based. So Google Gemini works the very best on a Pixel, but it also works well on other Android phones. It's just, you might not even have to give it as many permissions on a Pixel because you've already given those permissions to Google when you're using that phone.
Okay.
So Tara, it's Rachel. I looked at Speechify once. Do you want me to just take that one real quick?
Yeah,
Please.
if you tell us what Speechify is.
I had somebody suggest Speechify to me at one point, and I loaded it and looked at it. And my assessment was that it was a way to have like fun celebrity voices and things like that, but it wasn't specifically developed for the visually impaired. So my assessment was that apps like Seeing AI did a better job because they were geared toward us. So that was my little assessment on that. I would try Seeing AI or Envision above Speechify personally. So that would be my thought.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah. I'd like to call upon Janice or Sandy or Frank, who use their Android phones a lot. Do you have any other tips for people that you want to add that might help?
Tara?
Yes, Janice.
Here's a quick tip for those who want to use their camera without having to look for the camera icon. If you just press twice in succession to your button on the right of your phone, it'll turn the camera on. So that's another gesture that our speaker was talking about. Instead of looking for something with your eyes, you can just double press the right button and your camera will come on.
And that's the power button. But yes, thank you for that. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Frank.
Yeah, I have a couple of comments. One is I find it troubling to read a lot of text on the screen. And if I'm at home and using my PC, if I open a PDF file in Microsoft's Edge browser, and then I right click on the document, it pops up a read aloud option, which the Google's Chrome browser doesn't seem to do. So that makes it real easy to read text. And the other thing, again on a PC, is for reading text in Microsoft Word. If you go to the review, the review menu, in the main menu, there's a list of topic. One of them is review, and then there's a sub. It pops up the sub choices, and one of those is read aloud. So those things work quite well for on a PC. I did install Speechify. I'm not quite sure when it comes on and when it comes off, but sometimes it does, and it seems to be there for reading email to me aloud. So that's a good thing.
Thank you, Frank. Then we have a question. I just can't read my battery percent. It doesn't seem to magnify with that feature turned on. Is there any way to magnify it? Thinking maybe I can ask Gemini. Sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that name. Right now, I have to go to settings and look under battery. So is there any way to magnify the battery percentage?
So the magnifier that we just turned on, the one where I set mine, if I triple tap it, like this is me magnifying. The battery's up, the battery level is in the upper right-hand corner on my home screen. So when I have that magnifier on, it magnifies everything that's on the screen. So I can make it big and see what my battery percentage is. You can ask Gemini. Gemini will tell you, you know, what the battery level is if for whatever reason the magnifier isn't catching it on yours. But I think sometimes you just have to know where to go and magnify. That's like the other challenge for somebody who doesn't see well, is knowing where that should be.
That's true. Mary, you're unmuted. Or
my mistake.
Okay, no worries. Frank, you're still unmuted. Do you have anything else to add?
I just tried asking, hey Google, I said, what's the battery level on my phone? And it did give me an answer.
It did not?
It did, yes.
Oh, it did. Okay. Yeah. Sandy.
Well, hi, Tara. This is Sandy, and Edlyn, you just always amaze me how many features you know off the top of your head. So the two things I would mention are the keyboard that I use, and I'm embarrassed I don't remember the name, but I think it's called Big Keys. It was the app. And I'm trying to remember if Janice Samuel told me it, but yeah, I found a keyboard that I like, and that is really helpful. And the other thing I want to mention is somebody seemed to be asking you about the 2-finger pinch zoom. You know, you put 2 fingers on the screen and spread them apart to magnify. I use that feature a lot when I take a picture of something, and maybe I need to learn other, you know, shortcuts or other ways to do it. But I think the feature I use most often on my phone is to take a picture and then zoom in on it to read things, to see things, I should say. But I need to get better at, you know, turning on Seeing AI to read my bus number as the bus is approaching, things like that. But it's like you said, practice, practice, practice. Use what works for you.
No, but that I do the same, Sandy. Sometimes it is easy to just, like she was saying, if I double click the power button and the camera comes on, I can grab a picture really quickly. And then, like you said, spread my fingers and zoom in and see the thing that I'm looking for. So I say everything counts, whatever works. Use it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, a question from Oksana, whether you will be providing written notes from this presentation. Actually, Oksana, you can, I mean, this will be recorded and we will send it out tomorrow afternoon, if not Thursday. And you can just walk through it very, very slowly at your own pace. This might be very helpful. So that's my suggestion.
Yes, I know, I do realize that I threw a lot at you. And so I guess a quick plug for the LVRC, or the Low Vision Resource Center. We're there to help you guys, anybody, like just schedule an appointment. You get at least an hour with us, and we can bring your devices and we'll figure it out.
And we're planning on teaching us all how to use the Android too, because now we have another phone that we're teaching ourselves how to use.
Right.
So,
right.
so you'll have,
what the phone number is to make an appointment?
it's
Where-
301-951-4444.
I didn't get that. Can you try it again?
301-951-4444.
Thank you.
You located.
And in case there's somebody out there that, like, I don't know Apple at all. Like Tara mentioned, since the beginning of cell phones for me, I've always been on the Android system. Rachel and Tara are great with iPhones. So if, I know this is an Android group, but if anybody out there has a friend or knows somebody who's, you know, trying to figure it out with an iPhone, same number, same appointment. You just want to ask for Ann or Rachel.
Where are you located?
So we have an office in Alexandria and one in Bethesda, and hopefully the DC one will be open in July. So you have 3 options.
Yeah, but not near where I live. Okay.
Uh,
Not even close. And I don't drive anymore. So, yeah.
yeah.
I'll look for the written notes. Maybe that'll be helpful.
Or watch the YouTube. It will be on YouTube channel as well, so you can watch it too. Okay. Any other questions for Lynn?
I
Any
got one,
comments?
Tara.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Lynn, you mentioned, and good job, by the way, excellent
you.
as always. You mentioned when you were setting up the initial setting, you were choosing either between large display or high contrast. For those that like both, is there a way to get both? Like, can you do a dark mode in conjunction with a larger display? How does that work?
You can completely do that. Yes, you can do both. It's just the only one I choose is the large display, but that button right beside it that said high contrast, you can pick that one and you would get, you know, whichever one you pick, you get that. So you can
it's not you can pick more than one.
Yes, exactly. It's not either or. And you can still do dark mode, even with the high contrast. You can put dark mode on. So
Okay.
you can have all 3.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions for Lynn? Well,
Yes, I'd
Lynn?
like to ask.
Yes.
Somebody
ahead.
mentioned the search function. Where is that? How does it work?
Lynn, if you want to find accessibility, or I think Janice mentioned that, where can you find it, Lynn?
Okay, so the way I had talked everybody through doing it before was to go to the top right-hand corner and drag your finger down. And once you do that, the menu that comes up, you should see a little cog or a wheel. It looks like a piece of a clock. That button is your settings. So you can just press that button and go straight to settings. For those of you who could not figure it out that way, another option is to put your finger in the middle of the screen, like on your home screen, drag your finger up, and that's going to show you every app that you have on your phone, all the software and all the apps. There is a search bar at the top on this phone, and I know on my phone it's at the bottom. So the search bar is either going to be at the very top or at the very bottom, and it's marked by a little magnifying glass. If you type the word for the thing you're looking for there, that'll take you to it also. So you can put settings in that search bar. You can put store in that search bar. You can put, I don't know, solitaire in that search bar if you were looking for the game that you can't find on your phone. Like anything that's on your phone, that will pull it up.
What I need is to get to the keyboard.
You want to see your keyboard?
No, I want to type something in search mode, and I haven't found search where the keyboard comes up.
So if you're looking for the keyboard that's actually on your phone, then you just, then you would, like I said, go in, put your finger in the middle of the phone, drag it up, and you should get like, it looks like a bunch of icons. And like I said, these are going to be all of your apps. Go to the search bar that's on this phone at the top. Type in the word keyboard.
Oh, okay. I got it. I got a keyboard now, and I can type in there, and it will tell me where it is.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you put it in, and that's your keyboard, that's the one you have on your phone. And most of you are probably going to have the Samsung or the Google keyboard as options.
Yeah.
That's if you have a Samsung. That'll be your options. But if you're wanting to get, like Sandy had mentioned, and like I mentioned, we're both using a different keyboard that has really large letters. That was in the Play Store. So you're going to want to go to the Google Play Store, which was that rainbow colored arrow that points to the right, or just put in Play Store under the search and it'll take you there. And then you put in a large keyboard and it should come up. Sandy's, I think I've seen the one you use, Sandy, Big Keys, and it had a really good rating, 4.5, I think, whereas mine only has a 4.0. So I'm going to recommend Sandy's over mine. It's called Big Keyboard, I think. Whereas mine was called Classic Keyboard.
Lynn, we have one comment from Eileen. She says that this was so helpful. I learned a lot. Please have more Android tech sessions. No, we're not biased, but yes, we will. Yeah.
I am biased. I am not ashamed to say it. I love Android. So I'm happy to share what I know.
And again, you're always welcome to make appointments at our centers. Now I can say we have 3, which is really great. If you don't have any other questions for Lynn, thank you very much for today's session.
You're very welcome.
And thank you all. We will see you again in September. Have a great summer, and hopefully everyone is safe and healthy. Thank you again.
Okay.
And bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.